that they're changing my voice. So first of all, I'd like to point out that these shootings center around me, and I'll explain that very clearly soon. It's important to point that out because that has everything to do with the information that I have. I have 23 witnesses on record to the psychological operation against me, and some of them can tell you that part of it is a sort of covert operation where messages are being sent covertly. Okay, there's a lot to it here. So, in terms of this shooting in Stockton, okay, that has occurred around the same time, the Thanksgiving weekend, what have you, as the shooting in San Jose at Valley Fair Mall. We see that both incidents are said to be gang-related. A huge part of my videos is I talk about gang-related issues. If you see my life story playlist, for example. So, even right now, there are government personnel interfering with this video. Okay? And it has to do with who I am. Conceptions of respect, or who's ideal, or who should lead who, or who should look up to who, is a huge part of this here. The word game is a play on words for mage. It's the word mage scrambled because they like to work their magic, so to speak. And their magic has everything to do with technology. They've had technologies that can hack people's brain and read their thoughts and influence their decisions for decades now. The government stays 20 years ahead or so of technology that's being released to the public. So when Elon Musk and Neuralink and all this stuff say that they're releasing or they're working on technology to hack your brain, the government can already hack it. I can tell you that with certainty. Now you might say, who are you? I have a degree in information technology. I'm the son of 2 doctors. My father's a brain surgeon, and I have a top martial arts challenge, which universally, and to people who have sound thinking, makes me the top martial arts because of the exact nature of the challenge and the duration. It's 12 years and counting, and I offer up to $1 million if I'm compensated, $60,000 if I'm not. If anyone could beat me, pay nothing if you lose. Okay, this video is not about the challenge, but that has everything to do with why this thing centers around me. If you look at the wordplay that we see with the reporters, we see with the street names, we see with the whole situation, it's very telling. Also, a rapper named MB Nell was said to be at the party, at the banquet hall in Stockton. And he's said to be one of the people who have been shot. Now, sometimes I put faulty information out there. More important than who was there and who pulled the trigger is who's behind the scenes causing this to happen. That is central to this story here. And keep in mind, I'm somebody who has a college degree, was a top martial arts challenge. I'm the son of 2 doctors, not 1, 2. And my father is basically considered the top brain surgeon in many ways, perhaps on the entire globe, because he has so many top doctor awards. There are various agendas at play here. There's white supremacy, there's Jewish supremacy, there's LGBT agendas, there's certain social clubs and corporate agendas at play here. And they work together in certain ways. Now, anybody who's anybody, and I don't care if you're somebody or nobody, so to speak, because it's all just mere human rules, customs, traditions, and conceptions anyway, but anyone who's anybody, as they say, knows that this is how it works. This is not speculation or conspiracy theory. I have 23 witnesses on record. What the hell can you say to that? Specifically to psychological operations aimed at me while law enforcement is playing stupid. And law enforcement is playing stupid for a similar reason that they play stupid in popular culture when it comes to the code of silence. They are afraid. These aren't brave people. These are just, civil servants that go to work and they're afraid to get killed. They're afraid of not being able to feed their family, what have you. No offense to anybody, just telling you the truth here. What that shooting was about and what the shooting at the mall was about, part of it is personal information that I'm not willing to reveal because it has to do with how I live my life. It has to do with certain aspects of my life that I don't want a light shed on. Though I don't do anything wrong, it's not anything illegal, what have you. But I just don't feel like revealing that part. And part of it has to do with things like the Lucile Road connects to the idea of Lucifer. They've made it clear to me, the government workers have made it clear to me that these things connect, right? So you take the first part of the word Lucy and you remove it and you get L, right? Scrambled, El the Canaanite deity, and you get for El. And El is like a deity that's like Bill Gates is a good example. Bezos is he's like a nerd deity. Look up El and look at the statues of El and look at all the different statues, and you'll see that that's a part of this here. Okay, part of it is there's rich nerds, okay, who want people to look up to them. There's rich guys in suits. The English are a huge part of this. There's rich English people, Israelis, okay, the military industrial complex. Okay, who's doing it and why is a bit more confusing. I'm going to have to kind of do this in several parts here. But in this first part, let's definitively connect this to me. Now, when we look at MB Nell and we look at, people talk about the Asian boy Crips in Stockton, we look at certain connections here. This has so much to do with me, and I don't like talking about gangs very much, but I used to hang out with certain type of gang members, and as a result, part of the harassment campaign against me, the organized harassment campaign against me, involves gang members. The exact way they use the code is, for example, let me give you an example here. So I used to be engaged. My ex-fiancée left me for another person. Part of the harassment is they have people that look like her come around. Remember, I have 23 witnesses on record. That proves it's not in my head. Okay, I used to hang out with gang members. Part of the harassment is gang members gang stalk me, and they try to make it seem like, hey, they try to convince me to think of things in terms of being a gang member instead of in terms of being a spiritual person. Okay, I often cite that Marshall is marital scrambled, and the top martial artist, right, the heavenly warrior who defeats the beast, is the Son of God, making me the anointed. The Christos means anointed, the anointed one. And so that's a whole long list for another day. See my Proof I'm Christ playlist. I've proven that the miracles in the Bible are figurative. So here you have a society that practices eugenics. And I'm the son of 2 doctors. I'm mulatto. My father is black. My mother is white. Okay? And I show them up. And they are people in fraternities, and fraternities are very much concerned with social order. That's why fraternities and sororities in college, for example, started. That's why the Freemasons started, the Odd Fellows, the Knights of Malta, and the countless fraternities we have here in America and the other social clubs / secret societies, the Freemasons, the Pilgrim Society, okay, the Club of Rome, what have you. They started to try to make sure that when they practice nepotism and favoritism and making sure that people have the jobs that they want them to have and people who they don't want to have nice jobs don't have nice jobs, they kind of social engineer. They make sure that things go a certain way. And over the years, when all this technology came, especially here in the Silicon Valley, in the greater Silicon Valley, they started using that technology more dramatically. They have been manipulating human behavior. You can quote me on this. I will always be right about this. They've been manipulating human behavior through brain hacking and otherwise for at least since the late 80s. During the 90s, it really picked up. After 9/11, it really picked up. And in the last 10 years or so, it's been through the roof unbelievably. That's why there's so many people acting so funny these days. Look up the Generation Z stare if you don't believe me. It is a CIA mind control stare. The CIA is the play on words for alpha ice, right? And FBI scrambled is fib. And F-bi, meaning F meaning having sex, and the bi for bisexual. Because when we look at Greek societies, right, homosexuality was rampant in Greece, thus the massive gay agenda. To make a long story short, okay, I'm going to get more into the details of why it centers around me using the wordplay in the videos in part 2. But first I had to establish through being fumed right now. Some gang member interrupted me right now with loud music, and I had to make a second clip. Okay, they're harassing me even as I make this. And I get covertly fumed and poisoned every day. And I have information on this. But more important than the information on this is who I am. Who I am is extremely important. And why all these satanic ritual events are taking place right now is extremely important. Because the fact of the matter is, I promise you, I'm the son of 2 doctors, 1 a brain surgeon. I wouldn't put my family out there unless this was true. My dad has the highest reputation in America as a humanitarian and top doctor brain surgeon. And I am the Son of God. And that's why these things are taking place. Now you might not believe me? Well, explain this. Exodus 15:3, the Lord is a warrior, the Lord is his name. How come everyone in the churches looks like a fucking bitch and not a warrior? Because they're lying to you. Think about it. And then there's lots of other scriptures that prove my point. Isaiah 42:13, I believe it is. The Lord will march out like a champion, like a warrior. He'll raise the battle cry. Connects to Psalm 19, which says that Christ is the top martial artist by using the word champion, connecting to Psalm 18, where it says God trains the king's hands for battle, and he gives victories, warrior victories to the king. So the Son of God, the root and offspring of David, is the top martial artist. And there's all kinds of scriptures that prove my point here. See, Isaiah 30 through end, it goes on and on about martial arts strikes. The sword of scripture, the word spirit, spear it, to spear something. Power, ear. Now, I'm running out of time for various reasons, memory on my phone. There's an incident about to happen right here, so I'm going to have to make part 2 later. Okay, so let's talk about a few names here before we get into the next part. One is Gabriel Prize. Gabriel is said to be the angel of death by many. And prize, right? A prize in prying people. That's not a coincidence. The reporter on one of these, it was ABC 10 or something, his name was Gabriel Prize. Now, there was also a assembly person who had a quote in one of these video clips I saw. Her name was Rhodesia Ransom. Rhodesia is a region, it's the name of a place, what used to be a place in Africa, in southern Africa. Has to do with Zambia. To make a long story short, it has to do with my argument of Genesis 10, Amos 9:7, the Royal African Falcon Martial Art Order. Hebrew is an Afro-Asiatic language. Now some of you might ask, well, why would they do this? Let's say you believe that I am who I say I am. Am I the son of 2 doctors, one a brain surgeon? How often do you hear from the son of 2 doctors, one a brain surgeon whose dad is not just a brain surgeon, but is like the top brain surgeon, consistently top doctor awards, what have you. Brain surgeon from San Jose for like 45 years, so it's a ridiculous amount of time. Okay? That's hard to believe, right? Now, obviously, I can verify these things easily. That's not a problem. I can verify my top martial arts challenge. I can verify that I'm Christ. Put the link in the comments. I mean, in the description, rather. It caused me to stumble on my words, so I'm just going to wrap this up quickly here. To make a long story short, if someone were to ask, why would these Babylon, right, babbling on, causing people to babble on with fumes, pharmakeia means sorcery and poisoning and drugging, where we get the word pharmaceutical? Why would these Babylon scoundrels do this weird event? Well, look at Izzy Azalea these days. Look at Lady Gaga. Look at Nicki Minaj. Look at the way celebrities look. Why all the fake lips? Why the fake butts? Why all these weird occult-looking motherfuckers everywhere? Okay, why would they do this? Well, why does a retard make a funny noise? No offense to people who aren't mentally challenged. Okay, there's no simple answer to that question. One thing's for sure. In a nation full of witchcraft and mass shooting and corrupt government officials and crazy CIA people with a long history of doing the wrong thing, working for corporations and social clubs, in a country full of people from various religions, where we see the vast majority of them are following occultists, for fuck's sake. Why would they then do an occult ritual where they kill people? Well, occultists deal in death, right? Necrophiliacs, necromancers, right? What have you. They deal in death rituals, right? Skull and bones, right? The occult. The Freemasonry is like the 32nd degree, where they're said to drink blood from a human skull. They say it's a plastic skull. I don't know. I'm not a Freemason. But they deal in death. Aleister Crowley. Okay, Hitler was an occultist. All those Nazi units, these occult Nazi units that were killing people. There's the Jewish occult, there's the Kabbalah, there's the Zohar. Okay, why would these weird occult bitch-ass motherfucking beta pussy-ass bitch-ass motherfuckers do some bitch-ass shit and think it's cool? Because they're not me. They're not a man. Vir and virtue means man. I'm the top martial. They're a bitch-ass motherfucking geek. And they think they're tough when they control pussy and money by being a bitch-ass motherfucker. And yes, I'm going to talk that way because it's easier to talk that way at times like this. Okay? And the kingdom of heaven isn't a matter of whether or not you cuss. If you have to cuss to express yourself, by all means, you brood of vipers. You wolves. I didn't come here for the dogs. You hypocrites. First clean the inside of the cup and dish. Things like this were said in the Bible. Okay, so I'm appealing to rational minds here. The reason why my video isn't completely coherent is that they're interfering and they make it hard for me to make the video and to correct it and to edit it. They're hacking my phones, what have you. So who do you believe? The humanitarian's namesake, the son of 2 doctors, one a brain surgeon, the guy with a 12-year and counting top martial arts challenge who says that the miracles are figurative in the Bible. Martial is marital scramble, as in marriage, martial arts in marriage. And I, Christ, am the top martial artist ever possible, the bridegroom. Martial is marital scramble, and the top martial artist ever possible is the bridegroom. Because of tech, breeding, cheating, and generational ill-gotten gains, no one will ever be able to one-up my top martial arts challenge or my world record speed. And I've made hundreds of videos on various platforms referring to my challenge. The challenge goes back to 2013. Or do you believe the governing class and these crazy people who spend so much money on mental health psychologists, every one of the most popular degrees is psychology, is a psychology degree. So why are there so many crazy people everywhere? Because it is socially normative in the Western context to be fucking crazy. And I'm not socially normative because I'm sane. In the word normal, you see the word moral scrambled into it. And we're not talking about, political propaganda. What is universally moral, universally righteous, is what I insist on. My religion is universal, pinpointed moral precision and focused moral intensity. How come they won't say it that way? Because they want you in a scatterbrained state. Because to be confused is akin to being mentally ill. Except for if they're fuming you and poisoning you because you're the most sane person that ever lived. So who do you believe? These people in fraternities? Nerds and jocks and emos and K-pop? The political LGBT movement and its activists? MAGA? Who do you believe? Or do you believe the morally precise top martial artist? Who do you believe about what's going on? This is not brain surgery here. This is straightforward. And what is more logical to believe? That God's order is a Royal African Falcon top martial artist order? The miracles are figurative and God doesn't expect you to believe the white man, the rich Jews, the LGBT, the state of Israel, what have you? Or that the miracles are magically literal and that a fairy deity like you see depicted in the churches is going to come back on the clouds and save you. What is more logical to believe? The truth from the top martial artist ever possible? Or some dreams or visions, so-called dreams, so-called visions from every groupie bitch out there?